Haven't him
already.
and his girl kind of had some issues?
Hey.
Haven't we all? Yeah. Lord of mercy. Let's move on before we get in trouble. You could see the light bulb
road
go
we
off.
were going down.
Yeah, it's a dim light bulb like in a dingy bathroom.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Framer. In the Sode Shack tonight, Adam Markham, Bobby Reynolds. The first round of the 2025 NFL Draft just wrapped up, and we are here to react to all of it. 15 of the top 32 picks went defense. So, boys, it was a good night for IDP. Some interesting picks to dig into, Addy. I think all of our teams, well, Bobo, your team traded out of the first round, but our teams made a pick. We did not go defense for Minnesota or Indy, but we got a lot of interesting landing spots to talk about tonight.
Yeah, it was another fun draft. I've been looking so forward to this. This is all week, just like, it felt like the longest week just waiting for this day. And thought it delivered. Can't wait to break all these guys down.
Yeah, Bobo, I think this class got trashed a little bit in the lead up to draft night of this isn't the strongest class. But at the end of the day, you're still just fired up to have NFL, to have the draft. There's still going to be some juicy storylines and landing spots and plenty of stuff to talk about once, especially once night one is over.
It is pretty true that, something we've talked about the last couple of weeks, that these teams will do anything to throw as many darts as they can at edge rusher, even late in the first round, as we'll see, based on some of the trades that were made and some of the guys that were taken late in the first were kind of head scratchers.
Yeah, and some good talent left on the board. We'll be doing a full breakdown. I'll be on with John Macri on Saturday talking landing spots. You'll get the full rundown, rounds 1 through 7. A lot of talent still left out there for the later rounds, especially at linebacker, and some good edge rushers still on the board. Mike Green, Donovan Ezeraku still out there. But, boys, let's start off at the top. We had 3 IDPs go inside the top 10. Travis Hunter ends up at the number 2 overall pick, just like we all expected, except it is to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who trade up, most notably giving up a 2026 first-round pick to move up from 5 to 2 and select Travis Hunter, who they pair with Brian Thomas and Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence now. That is a sick Jacksonville offense and defense all of a sudden. Abdul Carter was the consensus pick at 3. He goes third overall to the New York Giants. And then Cleveland, who traded back from 2 to 5, take Mason Graham at the 105. Bobo, we'll start with you. You hold the 102 in our main league, the XFFL. This, I feel like, was a best-case scenario for Travis Hunter because when you looked at the teams where he could possibly land, Cleveland, no quarterback. The Giants, you've got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, so no quarterbacks. And then I did not see him slipping past 2 or 3. So to see Jacksonville make this move to come up and take a truly generational player in Travis Hunter, you've got to be ecstatic right now.
Yeah, I was going to be bummed if he was a Brown, because the first couple years, especially in RSO, that rookie contract was going to be kind of wasted, and then you're going to get to year 5 and you're going to be paying him $40 million, and it's going to be, a little, tough to swallow at that point. But yeah, you're right. Travis Hunter's best case scenario was really to the Pats probably. And
which did not feel likely at all.
From a talent perspective, you knew he was going to go before then. So you're exactly right. As far as best case scenario for all of us in IDP, for what the 3 of us have been banging on the table for the last many months, this is exactly why we told you to position for a guy like Travis Hunter, because now I feel like the 101 and the 102 are pretty locked in your rookie drafts. You know who you're taking, in the first 2 picks.
Yeah, Addy, you said something interesting before we got on mic that Ginty's still the 101, but it's more of a conversation now with him going to Las Vegas and Travis Hunter landing in a primo situation, especially if he gets that CB designation, because I think he's going to play a ton of wide receiver now. slot in as this team's wide receiver 1 or 2, depending on how you feel about Brian Thomas. And then you've got Trevor Lawrence, at quarterback. You've got Liam Cohen calling the shots. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this has made the 101 conversation at least a little more interesting now.
Yeah, for sure. In that same league, I do have the 101. Didn't finish last. I do want to point that out.
I think you finished
actually, the exact opposite.
The exact opposite of last.
Just want to say that. I want to clear that up.
And also have the best linebacker core of all time.
Sure. And just added to it again. So Blake Cashman, come on down.
Come on down.
Macri, you scared to make a trade? You scared? Seem scared. Anyway.
Back to it, yes.
Travis Hunter. This is a dream. This is a dream. I mean, he lands in a great offense, soon to be great offense. I know it struggles at times, but I think Trevor Lawrence is good. He's still very, very young. BTJ, stud. Travis Hunter, just as much of a stud, if not maybe even more. So this is immediately like one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. Like
top 3, I think.
I think it's up there. Yeah. And I mean, they're going to use him a ton. They've already come out and said that. We're going to let you do what you want to do. And so, perfect across the board. Like you guys mentioned, just like the fact that he landed in just an offense with a capable quarterback and a quarterback with upside that I don't think we've seen the best from yet. Just checks all the boxes. So this is good stuff. If you got the 102, congratulations. And if you got the 101, you have you're going to have some long nights here until your rookie draft.
That's right. Yeah, it is one of those situations where, as we discussed possible landing spots, this was just not even on my radar that Jacksonville, because the buzz leading up to the draft this week has been, Ashton Jeanty to the Jags is picking up a lot of steam. So I thought, okay, are they potentially just trying to get someone like the Bears to move up now to 5, they can move back to 10, but it turns out the opposite. They were the team looking to be aggressive and move up, and the GM there is 34 years old. James Gladstone, I think, is his name. I mean,
in Jacksonville,
it's weird that we have GMs that are younger than us now.
Wild. That is wild. But I mean, I don't think there may be some people out there saying it was an overpay, but I don't think so. I think this draft, like they're just weren't a lot of blue chips, but Travis Hunter.
I don't think you can overpay for a guy like Travis Hunter. Whatever it costs, just get it done.
I think there were 3 blue chips. I think it was Travis Hunter. I think Abdul Carter is going to be a blue chip, and I think it was Ashton Jeanty. I think those are by 3 the best players that were coming out of this draft.
Yeah.
Cam Ward was a necessity pick, really. But honestly, the Jacksonville thing probably came out of, they're sitting there looking at the board, talking about where they have all these players, talking about scenarios, what happens, and wanting Hunter the whole time and just thinking, why don't we move up to get Hunter?
Exactly.
Like, why don't we make this happen? If you're sitting at 10 or 15, that's probably not coming across to your mind. You're like, the Browns are not going to move back to 15, so that you would have to give an exponentially, more amount.
The Browns probably had a range in which they felt comfortable trading back because they probably had 5 to 6, maybe 7 guys that they would feel comfortable taking with that first-round pick. So I agree. I don't think it was ever in play that someone crazy was coming out of the teens or the 20s to move up and take Hunter.
Great tweet here from Thor, though. I want to touch on before we move on. We're going to look back in 5 years and find it unthinkable that Travis Hunter Jr. was not the first overall pick in this draft. Just a great tweet there.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those where it's like, how did the Jags only have to pay a future first rounder and some other picks too? But whatever the cost was, I think we're going to look back and be like, how did Cleveland not just stay there and take Travis Hunter? I know Browns fans have to be sick right now.
Yeah, you could have taken a player that is worth all that. And
right.
Probably a little more. Like, I mean, he's worth like 3 or 4 firsts in my opinion.
Right.
They have Deshaun. I forgot about that. I've been wondering all night, like, who is their quarterback?
It's Joe Flacco.
And I know Deshaun's hurt, but...
And Kenny Pickett.
So Flacco signed for real?
Yeah, Flacco signs. Kenny Pickett's there. They traded for Pickett.
Flackett.
Wow.
Flackett. Oh, flaccid.
Small
Like a
hands.
flaccid wiener.
Catch on.
Let's talk about Abdul Carter. He was the next blue chip. And the consensus at number 3 goes number 3. I don't worry about him for Dynasty, but for year 1 production, the picture's a little muddled now. I mean, you've got... two capable edge rushers, a guy in Brian Burns they paid a lot of money to and traded for, and you've got the GM, Joe Shane, coming out and saying we're going to pick up Kayvon Thibodeau's fifth-year option right after this pick. So it seems like they're content. Now, it makes sense as a strategy for the Giants to say, we just want a bunch of good edge rushers. I don't think that's a bad strategy at all. You pair these three guys up with Sexy Dexy, and you're cooking with gas along the defensive line. But I do wonder, like, what does this – is this a Leatu Latu situation for year one with a Dallas Turner situation year one for Abdul Carter where he doesn't see the amount of snaps that we'd like him to see?
Yeah, that seems, how this is maybe headed. Who knows though? Maybe Kayvon gets traded tomorrow or something. Mm-hmm. That would.
I'm not ruling that out.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. If not, yeah, that rotation. Like, I mean, who's Kayvon? Maybe he's the one that gets hurt the most. Maybe Abdul Carter is just comes out just such a stud.
Aziz, not Al Shair, Aziz Ojolari have a little bit of a resurgence for like 2 games last year. I think when Kayvon was on the shelf with injury. So
Giants are in a tough spot there, They I'm sure they were like just praying that Hunter would fall to him. But yeah, I mean, because they're like edge rusher is not a need for them. Like
no.
Brian Burns is a top 15 edge rusher. Kayvon could be that. He still has this will be his 3rd year. They just used a top 5 pick on him 2 years ago. So he still has plenty of room, I think, to go and grow, and I'm still very much in on him. So we'll see. I mean, I think it is going to be a little annoying though if they all stick around there together. We're always going to be saying like, wow, I just wish that we could see
right.
more snaps out of all of them. Probably.
I would not be surprised. The Giants traded up into the Texans spot at 25 to select Jackson Dart. I don't know the trade details. I don't have that in front of me, but I kind of wonder, could they use Kayvon Thibodeau to potentially go recoup some draft capital they had to give up to move up and take Jackson Dart?
Yeah, probably so. And I was actually expecting him to be a part of whatever deal that they made,
right,
to come up.
So I think that you could read the GM saying, we're going to pick up his 5th-year option as, hey, guys, if you want to trade for Kayvon Thibodeau, you're going to get this year and next year.
Yeah.
He's going to be cost-controlled for 2 years. So not ruling that out, but a little bit of a downgrade in terms of 2025 outlook, Bobo.
Maybe. I don't know. I love Abdul Carter. This doesn't really taint the view that I have for Abdul Carter in 2025. I still think, Thibodeau was pretty bad last year. As much as I was touting him to have
17 sacks,
48 sacks last year. Thank God he got hurt because
that invalidated it.
Yeah,
allegedly
didn't count. But I don't know. I think if you're wanting Abdul Carter, this is a nice little discount. Like, this is probably going to kick him back a couple of picks now, whether you're in redraft. Honestly, probably in Dynasty too, because now that's going to be the whole Burns talk. But if we loved him in Cleveland with Myles Garrett that much, why would we not see him very similarly in New York? Because, I don't know, Kayvon is just a guy. I think Carter is going to be great.
Yeah, I could see that world. I mean, again, I think Kayvon, there could be a bunch of he's getting benched type things happening next season. So
he's clearly the best edge rusher. I'm just a little burned from last year where we saw, now not taken at 3rd overall. I think that's important to keep in mind. But we did see the top, 2 of the top 3 edge rushers taken in last year's draft not really play a whole lot because there were established guys ahead of them. So, and in the Colts situation with the Colts, the first edge rusher taken, 2 guys that we didn't expect to keep Latu off the field. So we'll see. The Giants did send their 2025 second-round pick, which was 34 overall, their 2025 third-round pick, which was 99th overall, and a 26th third to the Texans to move up to 25. So,
sheesh.
Would not be surprised.
They have any more seconds?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, that's literally the second pick of the third round or the second round. So I could see the Giants working the phones tonight trying to recoup some draft capital with Thibodeau.
I do want to make it clear though. I'm in on Kayvon still. They're still I think the ceiling is still very high for him. I thought he did look okay in moments last season. I thought he got better as season went
I
on.
wouldn't mind to see him get traded.
Yeah.
Now that Carter's there,
I hope he does.
Right.
I really do, because I don't want to deal with this year one, honestly. I mean,
Colts.
but I do like that. I think that
put that
I think
evil
that
on
that's
us.
how a lot of people are going to be thinking.
Yeah.
That they're not going to like the landing spot. It could be murky. I mean, but cream will rise. But
Yep.
you could get him like maybe early second now in your rookie drafts.
I
so
agree.
that's a good thing.
That's right. Mason Graham went 5th overall. We've talked about this defensive tackle class, not guys we're going to be really targeting in rookie drafts. And Mason Graham, in the lead up to the draft, listening to guys like DJ, like Dane Brugler, it's not the kind of defensive tackle that like really revs your engine. He's, I think, that cutoff of blue chip talent to where you had 3, maybe 4 guys, depending on how you want to look at Cam Ward. I think I would consider him a blue chip just because of the quarterback premium. And then I think Mason Graham was that first tier of like just outside blue chip territory. So I guess a fine pick for Cleveland there at 5. Doesn't really move the needle much for me for IDP, though.
Yeah, it's tough to get excited when you pass up on Travis
Right.
Hunter for
The consolation prize doesn't
Mason
really
Graham.
doesn't get me too excited.
He'll be a fine pro though. you know.
Especially, I've heard a lot of people say like Walter Nolan, who we'll talk about here a little later, could end up being the best defensive tackle from this class.
Yeah, and
So-
especially from like probably like production standpoint too. Like he'll probably be more. I mean, Mason Graham doesn't strike me as a guy that's gonna be very productive sack wise for us
Yeah.
in IDP. Like
9 in 3 years at Michigan.
yeah, like we could see maybe a lot of tackles out of him. Like could we ever
Yeah.
see like a 70, 80 tackle season maybe?
I see him as like a little slower Braden Fisk. Like he's got a couple of pass rush moves, but he's not quick. I don't think he's going to overwhelm anybody.
Very
but you're
small arms too, right?
yeah,
If
but
I
he's
remember right.
he's going to play decent in the run game.
He's I'll pull up his the spider chart because I looked up the spider chart for Will Campbell. Will Campbell has like 7th percentile hand size and 12th percentile arm size.
Wow.
Like arm length. He is hilarious. He's like hilariously small.
Yeah, it's not
like
great.
in a universe of his own in terms of starting tackles. I wanted to look up Dane's comp here in the Beast for Mason Graham. That always helps me kind of contextualize these guys. And I can't find it. So I'll look and see if I can find who he comped him to. But yeah, he was his
Linval Joseph.
he was his 4th overall player. So I mean that's not nothing. And they got him at 5, so I guess technically they got a little bit of a discount. But let's keep it rolling, boys, because there's a lot of other guys we want to get to here. Let's look at like the guys selected in the teens from basically 11 onward. Mykel Williams, San Francisco 49ers at 11th overall. 13th overall, Kenneth Grant, another defensive tackle to the Miami Dolphins. Jalon Walker, the edge linebacker, kind of hybrid player. Kind of funny, goes to the Atlanta Falcons at 15th overall. Walter Nolan, mentioned him, defensive tackle to the Arizona Cardinals at 16th. Shemar Stewart, Cincinnati Bengals, there as their pick. And, that rounds out the teens here. So a run of defensive linemen from like 11 to 17 there, Addy. Let's start with Shemar Stewart because I think he seems like both Sam Hubbard replacement, Miles Murphy, and Trey Hendrickson insurance. If Trey Hendrickson is traded, if Miles Murphy is a bust, and then Sam Hubbard has retired. So I think this was a glaring need for the Bengals.
Yeah, and I mean Shemar Stewart may be able to play inside a little bit too. That dude's huge, and he like at times like weighed like 280 pounds at
Texas A&M.
At Texas A&M, right? So I think he'll mainly be an edge rusher, but he's versatile. I think he can do some different things with him. So this is an interesting pick. Like I think Shemar Stewart, like you're gonna hear upside a lot with him. Because like he is an athletic freak, but there was no production there in college. Like, you look at the sack column. Like, did he get over 5 sacks for his career?
I think he was less than 5. I think he was like 4.
So yeah. I mean, it's a tough sell. When a guy doesn't get a lot of sacks, and even the pressure rate wasn't anything that special. Like it was an 11.9% pressure rate for his career. Sorry, 11.6% for his career.
Dude,
PFF grades were okay. Like,
Never played less than 12 games at Texas A&M in a season, and he had 1.5 sacks every single season.
yeah, it's crazy. It's like we don't see a lot of these guys every year, and we don't have a lot of examples where these type of guys work out. But I mean, he's super young, and again, like, you know, just 6'5".
Yeah.
Weighed 267 in the combine, like 10 RAS. I mean, you're willing to give him a try, right?
Traits galore. I
Right,
mean,
lots of
just
traits.
It's sort of the. I mean, Daniil Hunter was like this too, right?
Yeah.
No
right.
production.
He's the best example.
But we've also seen, you know, other examples of this not go well. I mean, production, this startling kind of lack of production for how much Shemar Stewart played makes me a little nervous. This feels like it could be a swing and a miss for the Bengals.
I think it's interesting, too, to listen sometimes on, like, NFL Network, and you have Saban, and you've got Herbstreit, and you got a lot of them talking about how guys like this, I mean, they were talking about Shemar being like a project. You know, like, this is not a guy who is NFL ready week 1. So I don't know. Maybe that means Hendrickson stays around for another year or so. I'm not so ready to ship him off quite yet, but
I hope so, because I mean, if he doesn't, like, who is he learning from in that room?
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
Sam Hubbard's gone now.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson is maybe gone.
Joseph
Yeah,
Osai.
not ruling out him getting traded either.
Right.
Like, I could see the Colts giving up their second-round pick and maybe their third or something for Hendrickson.
I hope we see some trades.
I love your hope.
yeah.
I love your hope. You have a lot of hope
Well,
these days.
I was hopeful that we would go either offensive line or defensive line.
I
in the
thought you
first.
wanted Warren.
No, I never was a Warren guy.
I don't know.
never was a
Didn't
Warren
you
guy.
pick that up
We
about
wanted
a month or
Bowers.
so ago?
Wanted Bowers last year, but
Yeah, Brock Bowers last year.
I
But
thought
this year, it's like, okay, we may not have a quarterback, so like, let's just get some premium players in here.
and I still think there's like some
And our
PTSD.
defense sucks. Like, our defense is bad.
I think the Colts wanted Bowers last year. So
Yes,
this year,
they
like,
did.
well, damn it.
Yeah.
Let's
All
get
right,
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren.
Yeah, fine.
People like you.
And it's, I will
Dallas
admit,
Clark's number.
the edge rushing talent.
the best tight end in the draft.
Truly, I wonder if he was saying that in his little hole.
They're like, Bowers, shut up.
Please
All right?
stop saying it. Cut your hair. You look like an idiot. Yeah, so Shemar Stewart, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like there's two camps, really. It's like if you're a traits guy, if you're a production guy, right? And so this is like if your team traits.
I prefer both.
Right,
Yeah.
like I kind of,
Yeah.
I
Both
want,
of
yeah, I
them
want
together.
both the pie chart. You know, I'll lean more towards traits, but I do want some production. Like this, being this far to that side of the spectrum makes me nervous. Now he landed in a great spot. I think there's opportunity galore for Shemar Stewart, just because. I mean, I think he could play over Miles Murphy right away.
Yeah.
Potentially. The Joseph Osai is back as well. We should mention that. They did bring back Osai. But it could be another Miles Murphy situation where we just don't see a lot of this guy until year 2 or year 3. So I think it just depends on what the Bengals think of Shemar Stewart, how far along is he developmentally. He could be a 2 or 3 year project. We'll have to wait and see. So let's keep it rolling, though, boys. We mentioned the defensive tackles, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan. Better for NFL purposes than IDP. We'll see. Very high praise, I will say, that I heard coming out of the lead up to the draft for Walter Nolan. A lot of love for him. A lot of people thought that he would be the pick at 11 for the San Francisco 49ers since they've been trying to replace DeForest Buckner now for, I feel like, 5 or 6 years.
Right.
But kind of making our way back up the draft, Walter Nolan, Arizona Cardinals. Jalon Walker, Atlanta Falcons. We talked with Sig about how should we be looking at Jalon Walker. Could he be a Frankie Louvu or a Caden Ellis? And, of course, he lands with Caden Ellis. So what does this do? Like, how does this shake up this Atlanta defense? They go with another edge rusher later in the draft. Spoiler alert. So do we just see them having Walker as an edge rusher? Is he going to drop back a little bit? Is he a Troy Anderson replacement? Like, how do you see this kind of filling out, Eddie?
Yeah, I feel like he'll be a little more versatile year 1, early on. Like, think of like Micah Parsons early on. Like, they kind of did both with him, didn't they? In Dallas for a little bit.
Yep.
They did, yes.
So I think we could see, and just because like of the, well, I mean, they have, I don't know, dude. I mean, they don't have any edge rushers that should prevent Jalon Walker from probably stealing their snaps. I mean, Arnold Ebiketti's like always
Fine.
kind of interesting at the end of the year.
I think
but
this really nukes both the guys that were there.
I think so too.
Braylon Trice, Arnold Ebiketti.
Braylon Trice, forget about him. Yeah,
I think those
Coming
guys
off
are
the torn ACL.
Yeah,
Yes.
both. I think those are both dust. I think they're going to play Walker. Just looking at the 2 moves they made, I think they're like, we have got to restock the cupboard at edge rusher. So that's kind of where I see him slotting in. I mean, you've got Troy Anderson, you've got Divine Diablo there now, you've got Caden Ellis. So I think the linebacker room seems pretty well set. I kind of read this as like our edge rushers suck and we're going to double dip.
Yeah. Yeah, I expect Jalon Walker to eventually be a full-time edge rusher. I just wonder that maybe he's a little undersized right now, but I mean, again, he's one of the youngest, guys, defensive guys that were taken tonight, 21.2 years of age, but he's 6'1", 243, so needs to develop a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think we could. The ceiling is like a Micah Parsons light,
yeah,
you know.
Agreed. Yeah, the write-up here from the PFF Draft Tracker says that Atlanta ranked 31st in pass rush win rate and 29th in total quarterback pressures in 2024, likely resulting in Walker finding a home on the edge. He earned an 83-plus PFF pass rush grade in each of the past 2 seasons. So I think that's where he's going to end up. Bobo, do you see this the same with Walker ending up on the edge eventually?
Yeah, you got to think about this is now Raheem Morris's second draft that he has drafted with the Falcons. So Ebiketie was a prior regime. Now Braylon Trice was last year. So,
right.
So that was a Morris selection. But I think Raheem is probably trying to do a lot like the Rams are doing right now. You've got Byron Young and then you've got Jared Verse on the edge. And it goes to show you how much easier your life is in the NFL when your defensive line can put pressure on opposing offenses. So, I kind of see Jalon Walker a little bit like Byron Young, like kind of Byron Young's not the biggest guy. He's a little shorter. I want to say like 6'2", probably 240s. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. I like this Atlanta selection substantially more than who they took at 26, who we'll talk about later on. But
you just don't like the compensation, right?
Correct.
You like Pearce.
I do. I don't know. I don't know if I like him in the first.
Yeah, I'm okay with him back first.
I think he was always going to go first round.
It's just the
late
character
first
concern
round.
stuff that's just like, what kind of head case are you going to have to deal with?
Yeah.
That's my only
that's
thing.
not an issue for him.
Yeah.
Because I think he's got a lot of up. We'll get to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's keep it rolling, though, and keep making our way back up the draft here. Kenneth Grant, we mentioned, to the Miami Dolphins at 13. Mykel Williams of Georgia to the San Francisco 49ers. I know one person who is not thrilled with this selection. Our boy John Macri says, excellent run defender, but pass rush metrics are not on par with past successful first-round DLs. Historic comparables aren't overly encouraging. Day 2 or earlier, edge prospects who scored 90th percentile or higher in run D grade, but below an 85 career pass rush grade. Solomon Thomas, Miles Murphy, Shaq Lawson, Nolan Smith, so there is a bright spot there. Patrick Jones, okay. Josh Paschal, Marshawn Nealon. So not great company when you look at those 2 metrics side by side. And that's commonly what I've heard is Mykel Williams, great run defender, does not have the edge rushing prowess that you want. So I kind of wonder, were they trying to thread the needle between let's get some interior defensive line help and maybe get a little something on the edge?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he does have a lot of upside. I mean, if you talk about age, he is the youngest edge rusher that was drafted tonight.
At 20 years old.
20.8 years of age. So, yeah, I think we gotta bake that into whenever we're talking about him, keep that in mind. But I mean, yeah, the run defense stuff, I like that. I think that's good for his floor at least. And then I think he'll develop as a pass rusher. I like the fact that he's there next to Joey Bosa, gets a chance to learn alongside him. Williams has good hands. I mean, Bosa has some of the best hands in the league. So, yeah, I mean, I don't mind the fit. You're gonna have to probably be a little patient. But again, he's young, and I still don't think he's gonna cost. Is anyone excited to go out and take Mykel Williams?
What is he? Probably a 4th round pick in rookie drafts. If
probably
that,
a 5th,
yeah.
4th or 5th. I think maybe the draft capital bumps him up a little bit.
But there's so much shade being thrown at him. All I've heard of is shade thrown his way this entire process.
I'm kind of in on him.
I am too, because everyone else is so far out on him. He just got
Agreed.
the capital from a smart team.
Yeah, great team. You're going to play ball.
He's young. Again, just like let's let these guys develop. He was surrounded by a lot of talent there at Georgia. No one's ever productive at Georgia.
That's very true.
Was he the second edge rusher off the board? He was.
Yep.
He was behind Abdul Carter.
Your production is capped at Georgia.
So, I mean, it's not like you're going to have to spend up for him.
That is surprising.
I mean, yeah, he's got upside. Like, if you're in a league, if you're not in a like a contract league, you know, like, I think he's a fine pick. If you can get him in the 5th round, like,
Absolutely.
sure,
Yeah,
I'll take him.
I think that's a fine dart, especially with the capital. PFF has shades of Jermaine Johnson. So, okay.
I'll take that.
I'm a little interested.
Achilles tear.
Yeah, I was looking. I could never find Brugler's comp. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't do comps in the Beast, but I was looking at Mason Graham's comp for PFF. Shades of Tommy Harris. So that name rings a very vague bell, but I feel like Tommy Harris played in the league a while ago. Am I mistaken?
He went to our high school.
Yes, I think we played high school baseball.
Another thing with that Macri tweet, you know, were those guys as young as Williams? Would they play at Georgia? You know, let's all just think about this stuff. Macri, you should have accepted the trade.
Oh wait, was there a trade that
There was multiple trades.
that John wasn't wanting to move off
multiple
of?
trades.
Going
No
for-
counter either.
Going for a little defensive end.
All right.
Tommy Harris played in
Noted.
2004. So we're going way back in the Maybach for the Mason Graham comp.
Can I say before we move on to
Yes,
the
Bobby.
last group here, I'm kind of interested in Walter Nolan.
Okay, tell me why.
If you have to have a defensive tackle out of this draft, Nolan is the one that I want because in Arizona, you're going to have no competition in front of you. He progressed every year. First year at A&M, only a sack, played in 10 games, didn't play a ton. Second year, 4 sacks, 9 TFLs, 37 tackles. But then last year, transferred to Ole Miss, played 13 games, 48 tackles, 14 TFLs, 6.5 sacks, 3 PDs, 2 fumble recoveries. So, I don't know. Walter Nolan is a guy that I'm going to put a pin in a little bit. It's going to be kind of like a Mykel Williams. Like in the 5th round, if you've completely exhausted all offensive
Probably
opportunities.
just a click of the old mouse, brother.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be there on waivers for you.
That's kind of what I think too.
I think there could be some defensive tackles go. There always are.
Yeah.
I mean, because you'll have teams that need defensive tackle, and they're like, well,
I
this
don't know,
guy
though.
got top 15 capital.
This draft strikes me as like not one of those. I think we'll see a lot. It'll be dominated by offense.
Yeah.
I
I'm
looked
so
at last
curious,
year's
yeah.
last year's draft in our RSL league. Only 20 IDPs drafted.
Yeah.
I kind of wondered what the split would be. Could it be like 45-15 this year?
Yeah,
in terms of
somewhere
offense
like
versus
I think
defense.
last year was a down year as far as like total drafted. Yeah, I expect something a little similar this
Yeah, I
year.
mean, we didn't have defense go off the board until 15th overall in the first round last year with Leatu Latu. So
I mean, think about I don't hear a lot of excitement about any of these edge rushers that got drafted first.
Right.
You know.
And those are typically the kind of crown jewels that you see often, like 2nd, 3rd round. We got one linebacker, if you want to call Jalon Walker an edge rusher. We got one linebacker in round 1.
Yeah.
We got one safety.
Yeah, and like our
Got
commentary,
one cornerback.
the commentary on all of them is like, I mean,
2 quarterbacks.
maybe it works out. We see that they have upside. We see that there are things that do translate, but there's also a lot of like holes in these guys' profiles. So
3 cornerbacks.
Jahdae Barron, Maxwell Hairston.
Travis Hunter.
Well, yes, that is true.
That's on
That
you.
is true.
That's on you.
That's me. I got to do better, guys. Look, I have to be better.
I am proud to announce that Fast Draft now has an all-defense game called D-Up. That's right, fans of IDP finally have a real money best ball game that they can play. No more manually setting up leagues every time you want to do a draft. No. Now you can play for 10 grand, 2,000 to first. Could draft up to 30 teams, all defense. And the best part, balanced scoring, tackles for loss, pass breakups. It all factors in. Just draft 6 defensive players, top 4 into your lineup every week. It's that easy. It's so easy that this isn't just for IDP people. If you love the NFL, then you'll love this game. And for the first time with Fast Draft, you can sweat both sides of the ball on Sunday. So use your host's promo code to get a $25 deposit match, and you'll love this D-Up contest because it's about time we got one.
Let's move to the 20s and talk about.
They did announcing both ways. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
They
Wide
did.
receiver,
They said
defensive
a
back.
slash. Yeah, I saw the slash on the
I like it.
graphic.
I loved Hunter was like
He was fired up, dude.
Dancing up there
Just-
with the band and everything.
Yes.
at the
love his
beginning.
vibe, dude.
Yes, he was fired because he's like, I'm
He
going
knows-
to Jacksonville.
and yeah, he-
lots of good fishing holes in Jacksonville.
And he's just he's the baddest boy in every room
Right,
he's in.
right.
You know, and he knows it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're about to see it on Sundays.
I think I saw a quote. It was like, look, there's only so much time in a day and that you're in the building. He's like, Coach, I fish. I get up at 5 a.m. every morning.
Wow.
And so it's like, I don't care like what limitations you try to put on me. Like,
yeah.
don't put any limitations on me. Like, let me show you what I can do.
Special human.
I just love the attitude. Like, that attitude, I think he's got that dog mentality
Haven't him
already.
and his girl kind of had some issues?
Hey.
Haven't we all? Lord of mercy. Let's
knew.
move on
As
before
soon
we
as
get
he
in trouble.
started.
You could see the
knew
light
what
bulb
road
go
we were
off.
going down.
Yeah, it's a dim light bulb like in a dingy bathroom.
Love you, man.
Jahdae Barron, 20th overall to Denver. With a bit of a surprising pick. I had just seen running back all over the place for them in round one. Derrick Harmon goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. Not Shedeur Sanders. Great tweet. Just saw from the Football Grump retweeted Shedeur Sanders, who said, I'm built for whatever today may bring. Football Grump said, what about tomorrow? So pretty sick burn by Football Grump. Well done. Yes, Pittsburgh
Never
Steelers.
tweet, never tweet.
Never tweet. Log out, never tweet. So, yes, Derrick Harmon, the defensive tackle, goes 21 overall to the Steelers. James Pearce Jr., the other edge rusher, the Atlanta Falcons, move up, give a first-round pick to move up into the Rams spot and take James Pearce Jr. Malaki Starks, 27th overall to the Ravens. And Tyleik Williams, a bit of a surprising pick, defensive tackle. Detroit Lions at 28 overall. Jahdae Barron, I wish he had landed somewhere else. Denver, I guess it's fine, but they've got some nice DB options there. I think we're all Raleigh Moss fans. They just signed Talanoa Hufanga. Brandon Jones is there. Of course, you got the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain. So it's like
Jaquan McMillan was
right,
fun for a
right.
couple years.
It's like, I think Jahdae Barron finds a role. What kind of role will it be? Will that be profitable for IDP? I think we've got some question marks.
Yeah, I think once we do get clarity, I think he's going to be pretty big. I think he's going to be, one of these slot corners that we really like. Could get 90 to 100 tackles in a season. Scrappy.
Little Kenny Moore.
Will make big plays. I think he's going to be. And also, I like that. He's going to a good defense where this is a team that recognizes defensive talent. I thought he slipped a little bit, so yeah, this is good. Like I'll gladly take some 5th round Barron, some free agent Barron, because you look at like these slot corners and these cornerbacks that play closer to the line of scrimmage and get these box snaps occasionally, play on the defensive line, like they're up there. And as far as finishes, when you look at like lump them in as defensive backs, with the safeties, like they are just as valuable as a lot of these safeties that we talk about.
Yeah. You still going Malaki Starks over Jahdae Barron at this point?
Yeah.
I think so, just because of the longevity aspect that you brought up. Landing with the Ravens, and we talk about another great defense.
Right.
And they did lose Marcus Williams. They do have some great cornerbacks there in Nate Wiggins and who was the other guy we said that's been
Kyle
there for
Hamilton?
Everton? Kyle Hamilton is safety. Who's the other cornerback that they have?
Humphreys.
Yes, Marlon Humphreys. So I think there's
Not
a little.
Marcus Peters.
I think there's a little clearer role for Malaki Starks there as the other safety opposite of Kyle Hamilton, and then you have Nate Wiggins and Humphrey as your 2 cornerbacks. So, I still think it's Malaki Starks, but Barron has entered the chat for DB2, depending on how you want to classify Hunter.
Yeah, value wise, like Barron, because
Right.
I do think he'll be there in the 5th and undrafted a lot of spots. But Starks is going to be
4th.
Unfortunately, him being the first and only safety in the first round is going to, and you're more casual than your non-IDP show listeners, they'll bump him up into the 3rd.
You think so? You think he ends up in the 3rd?
Baltimore Ravens safety.
Right, yeah. But I think it's like, hopefully, I mean, you still want Kyle Hamilton as the safety there, right? I think what do you guys think this does to Hamilton?
I think it's interesting. I think, I'm not penciling in, Hamilton has just this great usage and you can expect him. Like, Malaki Starks is very versatile, and I think he's like a little underrated at how physical he is.
Yep.
So, I mean, he played Starks played a ton in the slot last year at Georgia. I think that was due to some injuries and stuff. So I mean, he's a versatile piece. Like he just fits well with his defense. You can do a lot of different things with him. Like I expect his role to change and grow. And early on, maybe he starts out playing primarily deep. But I mean, I think him and Kyle Hamilton will be switching up and doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah, the PFF draft tracker analysis. He has positional versatility that allows Kyle Hamilton to be a movable chess piece. Don't like that for Hamilton, I will say. I don't like movable chess piece in IDP because it means like.
And didn't Hamilton get some kind of weird usage
Yeah,
last year?
the
as far
usage
as playing
was
deeper,
not great at the end of the season.
So yeah, I mean, there will be a lot of Hamilton bag holders that listen. Hamilton's still a fantastic safety option,
But it is a little arrow down situation. I feel like for Hamilton.
I don't really want to have another potentially elite safety back there.
Yeah, it was an elite pick by PFF on the grade.
Yeah, that's
Funny,
typical.
one of-
Ravens and the Eagles,
right?
Great picks there. At the end
One
of
of
the
the very few teams where the PFF users pick, especially this late in the draft, because you just never know where people are going to go. Malaki Starks was their pick, and they end up with Starks. So
he was getting mocked to the Vikings quite a bit, which I was. I mean, I like Starks, but I was not. I did not want that to happen. Also, there's no way that GM was doing that to remind everyone of Lewis Seen. There's no chance.
there's a lot of dumb takes out there, I think, sometimes with
Yeah.
people trying to prognosticate.
This is great news, though, for now. I know that we got a lot of picks to go, but Theo Jackson potentially
Right.
could be like a
Staying
really,
alive.
really nice sleeper for us in IDP.
Yep. So, Bobo, what did you think? I wanted to get your take here on James Pearce because that was your Rammies trading out. I was keeping the candle lit. I think Macri was too for Jihaad Campbell to the Rams at 26.
We got to start though with the compensation for.
Yeah,
for
I'll
this
pull up
pick.
the exact compensation, but it basically included the Falcons' 2026 first round pick.
Massive.
So
that's a move you almost have to make if you're the Rams.
I'm pretty sure they gave them their 25 second also.
Yes.
So now the Rams have 2 seconds and 2 firsts in 26.
Yeah, I've got it right here. So it was their second round pick, number 46, and 7th round picks, along with a 2026 first rounder. So they gave up their second round pick and a 7th round pick, along with their first next year to the Rams in exchange for 26 overall and a 3rd round pick. They did get back 101. Okay. So that helps ease the sting, I think, a little bit with the 2nd round pick. You move back basically like about
20.
55 picks. Okay. Because you go from a 2nd round pick to a late 3rd round pick.
Okay.
So, basically moving back 50 spots, 7th rounder, who cares, and a 1st rounder. So, still rich.
Raheem, hey, you're a coach now, and the Rams just kind of hit you over the head. So good.
It's we'll trade with you, Raheem, but we're gonna bust your head.
Good for Snead and McVay. Y'all did the right thing. But
good relationship with Raheem.
I do like the James Pearce selection. I mean, I think me and Adam have been kind of not even closet. We've been pretty outward Pearce fans for a couple weeks now, several months now, potentially. I don't know.
For
several years
Our
now.
first mock, I drafted him. I've been high.
I think you're right.
I'm a fan.
But I don't know. The compensation kind of clouds my vision at this point. But I do think Pearce is going to play a lot of ball. I mean, if your organization can kind of keep him in check, and I know there's a lot of the off-the-field stuff of he just quit in games and was non-competitive.
Not coachable.
Yeah, I mean, people saying he was the most, non-coachable player they've ever seen.
And I love how the draft was like, the Falcons were doing character work on James Pearce. It's like, brother, it doesn't matter at this point, man. He is who he is.
But from an athletic profile, as far as the tape that Pearce puts on the field, some of the freakiest edge play, as far as highlights are concerned in the class.
Great landing spot. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be like him and Jalon Walker are going to have every opportunity to eat on the edge.
You know what's funny is like sitting here looking at this list, and we'll talk about one or two more guys that we might draft. One guy in particular will be pretty high, but aside from those, like how many of these guys are just like 5th round or waiver wire picks this year?
Most of them.
All of
Yes,
them.
Most
I
of
think,
them.
Yeah. I mean, with the exception of maybe like 4, 3.
Where do you think this puts Pearce now in rookie drafts? He feels like
Fifth.
Yeah,
You think he's that late?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think him and Walker both will be 3rd, 4th round picks.
That is way too high.
I just think I think that this is one of the edge rushers that I'm actually kind of excited about from this class. Like, I love Abdul Carter. I think Carter is going to be great, but like I think there's a clearer path to snaps for both
I am
these
too,
guys.
but I don't know that I want to burn. I don't know that I want to burn like a 4th round pick.
I'm not saying I would do that. I kind of wonder, like, if we had rookie draft ADP with IDP mixed in, where do these guys?
Yeah,
end up.
I mean, probably. I think you start seeing them go like in the 4th, like at the earliest. I think 4th round. I don't see them.
But like already aside from Travis Hunter, like we're already talking about maybe Abdul Carter making it into the 2nd.
Right.
So if Travis Carter's a Travis Carter, that's hilarious. That'd
That would
be,
be
a
an
cool,
amazing
person.
combination.
If Travis Hunter is a wide receiver,
he now
then
plays edge, cornerback, and wide receiver.
from what
Plays all of it.
what we know tonight, take the 1st round out because that's pretty much all offense. You've got what is it? 12. We got 4 rounds of 12 picks now for so many offensive players. Like I honestly think from the 2nd to the 5th round, there could be less than 10 IDPs taken.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 IDPs taken.
I think we'll see, and there's some guys still lingering out there that I think will enter the conversation for like 3rd, 4th round consideration, like Schlesinger, Emin
Sure.
Mike Green, Ezeraku. Like, I think there's still some guys out there that will end up
But why would I burn
inserting themselves in the conversation.
Why burn a draft pick on any of those guys if I could just go to waivers and pick up,
Right.
Mike Green maybe out there for us.
That's
I
what we've been
mean,
saying. This is not a great year to be spending draft picks on IDPs.
So I'd rather just, if I've got to make the pick, I'd rather just swing for hitting on an offensive piece, Which
Or
I think
even-
that we've talked about. All you've heard is how deep this class is, and like especially at the running back position. Like I'm just gonna probably, even though there'll be some receivers that I like to slip through
Right.
too.
And tight ends, like there's still like
Yeah.
some
Right.
Gunnar Helm,
Good class.
Jake Bringstool.
Ferguson,
Yeah, there's a lot of
the kid from Bowling Green, Harold Fannin.
yes, absolutely.
right?
So,
Yeah, put up like 1,600 yards last season. or
right, he
whatever.
was the receiving leader for all of college football.
Yeah.
So I'll take my shot with those type guys.
Yeah.
Darquez Hunter.
I was looking at I have 505 and 504. I was kind of I know this
Sure,
guy's
if Pearce is there, like
well, I was saying I was looking at potential like linebacker targets that are veterans that I could swap
Oh,
that
yeah.
pick for. I was looking at like Bobby Wagner, for example, sitting there expiring like $2-3 million in 2025. Like, would y'all do 504 for Bobby Wagner? 1 year Bobby Wagner?
I mean, yeah, of course.
I'd rather
If I'm contending,
think I'd rather have Bobby Wagner than who I'm going to get at 504.
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's the deal you got to make on.
52nd
You got to
pick.
make that deal on the clock.
Yeah.
Because I mean, probably not making that otherwise. That trade.
You also got to kind of, like I've told you, keep people hot. Like maybe do that around before. Like if it's getting kind of
Right.
gross, and like if there's still people on the board, like if all of a sudden it's just like, oh, all my players are gone, I don't really want to make this pick, then you're stuck with somebody for 4 years in RSO.
Yeah.
I love that part of the website.
What's that?
Just that, like, it's not like sleeper. Like, you're
Yeah, you can't
with
just
that
cut these
person.
dudes loose. You
There's a
got to
financial compensation with
But
them.
even on your sleeper leagues, like when you just something about drafting a guy, you're just more likely to give him some time, right?
It's a sunk cost fallacy. I took this guy. I
Right.
invested in him. I got
I
to see this
believe in
through,
him.
right?
Chase Young.
You know, there's an investment there. So you don't just want to
CEH.
give him up that easily. So, yeah, James Pearce Jr., I think, is going to be a riser because of first-round draft capital, the first-round draft pick given up for the Falcons to move up and take Pearce. The
But let
fact
me-
they're
let me
pairing
ask you
him with
this, though.
Jalon Walker.
How many people, though, coming out of college with this kind of major, like, character concern issues have ever really worked out?
Character concerns, yeah, are very
Where's your smoke?
Yeah.
that makes me concerned for sure. But you know, it's one of those things where there's more motivation now than ever for these guys to get their head on straight. And so, these guys are so young.
And
it can happen, but it is worrisome.
And in RSO, you really want them to get to the auction so that you could then manually give them like a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal,
Or just give them a 1-year $500K.
Yeah, exactly.
And then give them a little
But I don't know that you
$2
want to do
million
that with a rookie,
extension.
Yeah, and back to Pearce, like Tennessee probably wasn't the best environment for him, just like
college football in general, I think, is a tough environment right now
agree.
for a lot of these young guys.
if you don't have your head on straight, man, like there's a lot
Money
of
coming at you left and right.
probably women.
Right, transfer portal,
Coming at ya.
NIL money, like it's
a
the
lot
Wild
for a
West right now.
21-year-old to deal with.
Exactly.
So I mean, maybe he gets some professionals around him that can help him out, and then just talk to him like, dude, like you have a massive payday coming if you can just figure this out for a little bit.
I don't love the comp from PFF. Shades of Randy Gregory.
Well,
So that's
Gregory
not
was a stud for a
ideal.
bit.
For a bit, yes.
And he could have been
He could have been. Was he the guy that threw his girl down on a couch of guns?
probably.
Or
No,
was
that
the-
was the
Who was that?
That was the
that Alden Smith?
Hardy.
Oh, yeah.
Greg Hardy.
Greg Hardy. Good God. Doing MMA now, I think, if he's still alive.
NFL Network's
not
comp
very
for
well.
him was Leonard Floyd, which I kind of
Okay,
like.
yeah.
Slim,
I could
kind of
dig that.
tall.
We'll take the 10 sacks every season.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Now, we'll say, a guy I don't want to gloss over, I know we're kind of like defensive tackle, whatever, but Derrick Harmon, Pittsburgh Steelers, shades of Stephon Tuitt.
Yeah.
I like Harmon a lot.
That is pretty juicy. Keanu Benton, season may be over, but this is a lot of very smart football analysts. This was their, if not their favorite player in this draft. I know like Robert May said on their live stream that this was his favorite player, period, in this draft. And a lot of folks had them as their favorite defensive tackle.
Yeah, anytime
So-
Pittsburgh drafts a wide receiver or a defensive lineman, you should make a note.
And this is very much like Cam Hayward insurance as well. Like
Yeah, how old is
I
that
think
dude?
I think Hayward could
35.
play till
Really?
he's 40, like legitimately, like Whitworth or something. But
Still elite, man.
right, it's gonna happen at some point.
But yeah, I mean, you love him getting to learn alongside him.
Right.
Like, pressure rate 11% for career for Derrick Harmon in college. So that was one of the best rates among the defensive tackles. So yeah, he's going to be one of these types that could potentially get us sacks and stuff, and that's really what we're looking at.
Yeah.
With that position.
If I'm going to draft a defensive tackle in a rookie draft, it's going to be Derrick Harmon.
Harmon, in
That's
the
the
fifth
guy I
round,
want.
probably. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So Tyleik Williams, who cares? This was a reach according to at least consensus kind of pre-draft rankings. Maxwell Harrison was the pick at 30 for the Buffalo Bills, the third cornerback. Thank you, Bobo, in the first round. But let's talk about, I think, the biggest news of the evening and an update for you boys here since we went on air. Jihaad Campbell, the Eagles trade basically a fifth-round pick to the Chiefs to move up to 31, take Jihaad Campbell. I don't think the Chiefs were going to take Campbell. I think the Eagles make that move because the Chiefs are getting some phone calls from other teams potentially wanting to move up to 31 and take Campbell. So they move up. They take the Alabama linebacker / former edge rusher. And the reason I bring this up from Zach Berman, who does a fantastic job covering the Eagles, says much more to come, but Howie Roseman will not put him in the box as an off-ball linebacker. They view him as someone who affects the QB and the passing game. That was clear. Even if his position is listed as LB, and Eagles won't offer details about which position group he'll work with, this is closer to the Micah Parsons profile coming out of college than the Roquan Smith profile. So
I agree.
I think this is extremely interesting. We're kind of wondering, does this nuke Zach Bond? Does this nuke Nakobe Dean? I think it's something much more kind of in that Nolan Smith, Micah Parsons camp, Jalon Walker camp of like they expect this guy to maybe do a little bit of both. And what do you know? You got Zach Bond, a guy who does a little bit of both now with Vic Fangio.
Yep, and before that, Vic Fangio had Andrew Van Ginkel. Fangio is just great with these versatile pieces that can play off ball, can rush the passer. And yeah, that's what they got here in Jihaad Campbell. So this is a wheels up situation. This was like the best landing spot of the night
I think so.
for IDP.
If you want to, depending on how you're kind of classifying Hunter in that conversation, because
Yeah, he doesn't count. Taking him out.
Taking him off the table, I think this is yeah, because Carter, I'm not crazy about. The edge rushers, I mean, we just have so many questions about these edge rushers. And especially if we're now looking at Jihaad Campbell as essentially like a Frankie Louvu kind of player that's going to get a ton of pass rush snaps.
And also, thank God he got the first-round capital.
Right.
Know.
So top 10 dynasty linebacker for you. This doesn't change things at all?
Yeah, we did the top 24 IDP assets episode, and he was in that one. So yeah, I mean,
the haters were mad.
He's been a top 7 linebacker for me all off season.
Yeah, you had him. I wanted to pull it up here. You had him at 18 overall, LB6.
Let's go.
So I don't really see that changing, Bobo. What do you think now with kind of that report landing with the Eagles, the defensive coaching staff, the first round capital? How you feeling about Jihaad Campbell now?
It just seemed like, I mean, for the Eagles, they really didn't need anything. You know, what were their positions of need? Like, okay, great, you needed a whatever. This was an embarrassment of riches is what this was.
This was make a strength even stronger.
Absolutely. You know, so now Nolan Smith kind of started coming on towards the end of last year.
Yep.
This gives you kind of a little bit of a potentially a Micah Parsons, maybe if that works out, like opposite Nolan some this year. Not to mention Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the middle of that defensive line. I mean, dear God, that Eagles team, not to mention Reed Blankenship, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. They have another good really corner right now.
I love Jihaad Campbell, too, because you have Nakobe Dean might possibly miss the start of the season.
Yeah.
So you drop Jihaad Campbell in there as a Nakobe Dean replacement to start the season, potentially. And then when Dean comes back, now you've got Jihaad Campbell coming off the edge a little more.
Yeah, Jeremiah Trotter probably died a little tonight.
Oh, he's gone.
Dead and buried.
And Nakobe Dean, this will be year 4 for him. They're not going to, bring him back now. So, I mean, yeah, Jihaad Campbell, like the runway will clear for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to immediately. But if there was a little bit of weirdness with Nakobe Dean being there, like it won't be that way for long. So, but I mean, I expect him to come in and just be a stud right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, they have him now. Our lads, they do the Lord's work because they keep these depth charts really updated. Not to say this is gospel. They have him behind Zach Bond right now, so I think that's kind of how they're looking at him as that weak side linebacker. But you look at the outside linebackers, Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, Jalix Hunt, Azeez Ojulari. I think Campbell's better than all of those guys, potentially right away.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you could be looking at another Jalon Walker type of situation where this guy just ends up as an edge rusher down the road.
I think so too. Just because, where they are as a team, they don't really need him at
right.
linebacker right now. Like, I mean, where he will be most valuable is edge potentially. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. The team loses Milton Williams, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat. Now,
no big deal.
No one cares.
No big deal. Matter. Yeah, 6'3", 244 pounds, Jihaad Campbell. So
yeah,
he's got that kind of build where he could potentially slot in there at edge rusher.
9.94 RAS. So yeah,
tackles and sacks, both production.
Big play leagues. I think Jihaad Campbell. Now, if you want the tackle heavy guy, that's not going to be Jihaad Campbell's strength. But
maybe we don't know. Who knows how? I mean, I do feel like he'll potentially be or he'll eventually be an edge rusher full time.
Mm-hmm.
But that may not be what's best for him. Maybe he does become an off-ball linebacker. I mean, I have no clue.
This is kind of the draft of like these tweener types. These kind of like
Jalon Walker, same thing.
Right, chameleon types that don't really have a solidified position. Because you have Abdul Carter, we've mentioned this on other podcasts, that was an off-ball linebacker, transitioned to edge rusher. You have Travis Hunter, who plays 2 entirely different positions, offense and defense. Jalon Walker, is he linebacker? Is he edge? Same with Jihaad Campbell. So just kind of an interesting draft overall.
Yeah, a lot of just who knows.
Right.
This class.
That's I think you feel good about a couple of guys, Bobo, and the rest is like shrug. We'll see.
I do think from a value perspective, you probably benefited a lot tonight because Abdul Carter probably in most normally
he's going to slide.
Yes, he slid
Early
3 to 4 spots probably from where we had him before. And then Jihaad Campbell is probably going to slide too because most normies are going to be like, they've got Bond.
They've got Dean.
This guy's going to sit for a while.
Yeah.
Like he might not play that position. So like this is a little.
Would it shock you all if he led the team in edge snaps year one?
No.
Not at all.
You know, I think Nolan Smith probably will be that guy, but
Yeah.
would not surprise me if Jihaad Campbell's first or second.
I think Jihaad still ends up being picked like in the second round.
I think so,
Rookie
too.
drafts. 206 to 212. We'll see if Schlesinger gets early capital tomorrow. That could bump him up.
Yeah.
Over Jihaad.
Yeah,
If-
best
just
available.
If there is worry about the, you don't want him. I mean, it could turn out well. I know we have a lot of examples of not turning out well.
Yeah.
But if it does turn out well and you do get like a Micah Parsons, like, man, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
That 206, 20, whatever you spend on him is
Yeah.
gonna just it's nothing.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking like Abdul Carter. I don't know. We still need to see where some of these running backs go. If there's a lot of running backs that get pushed to the third round, then Abdul Carter is going to stay in the back of the first for me.
Well,
I
dude,
think so,
I mean,
too.
with the tight ends getting the capital they got, they're going to
It's
be
gonna
bumped
push
up
a-
now.
Their first round
running
picks
backs are
solidified.
Running backs are going to leapfrog
For
all
sure.
these guys tomorrow, probably.
sure.
All the like Abdul Carters.
But Carter's right at that 1-2 turn, somewhere in that range.
Yes, I think so too.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to complain about 111. We'll see how tomorrow works out. But then like probably 202, 203 range maybe
Yeah, if you got
at
an early
latest.
second, like this is a congratulations. I mean, that's a huge pick there for you to get
Right.
in there.
But then like I agree with you, Addy. Jihaad Campbell, like honestly for me, probably like late second. If you get like 209, 210, that's probably going to be a value. But now it takes like Malaki Starks to me is like probably a late third.
I think he's a
310.
he's a
where he'll
riser.
go. That's
Yeah.
where he'll go.
I think he's a
Exactly.
riser.
Yeah.
But Monowari has slid a little bit.
He's a
you know?
faller,
We
for
kind of
sure.
thought maybe beginning of the third, and we'll see what happens with the beginning of the second round next tomorrow. But he definitely slid a little bit today,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
kind of expected that. a
Tons
little
of
bit.
talent left out there, y'all. I mean, Mike Green, Will Johnson slid. I think there's some knee injury concerns with Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan.
There's also some character concern stuff with Mike Green too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The two
Yeah.
sexual assault allegations there at two different stops. So Donovan Ezeraku still out there. Trey Amos, cornerback from Ole Miss. Nick Scourton, edge, Texas A&M is still out there.
He's one of the youngest guys in the class.
Kevin Winston Jr., safety, Penn State is still out there.
Xavier Watts.
Landon Jackson, edge, Arkansas. Siobhan Ravel.
Schlesinger, you say him?
He's further down for the PFF draft board here. So, yes, he's there at 52 and 53, him and Demetrius Knight Jr.
I could see the value for Schlesinger being later than people are thinking.
Oh
Right.
yeah, he reeks of like the Drew Sanders type.
Couldn't you see him as like the Peyton Wilson? Because didn't Wilson
Yeah,
go like
same thing.
near 100th overall, something like that?
Yeah.
So now I think Carson Schlesinger has 2 intact ACLs as far as I know, unlike Peyton Wilson. But
still very inexperienced. Like we
Right.
just saw 1 year at UCLA. Like he was like a walk on. I do like him a lot.
yeah.
Awesome tape.
But we will wrap it up there. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to check out nights 2 and 3 of the draft tomorrow, rounds 2 and 3. Like I said, I will be pinch hitting for Jace on the after show Saturday with Macri talking landing spots.
Maybe I'll join you. I don't know. We'll
Come
see.
on out, Bo.
We'll see.
We'll see.
ain't
And then
coming.
the Baba will not be there.
Well,
Be too
Macri,
beautiful.
but you got to tell Macri he can't join.
All right, Macri, you're out. I'm sorry. But me
Sorry,
and Adam
Macri.
doing the landing spots.
right.
by.
No
It's like,
StreamYard
thank
needed.
God.
You're back Monday,
Thank
so
God.
you need to take.
Yeah, you guys are
you
back
need to
on the
pace
clock
yourself.
Monday for
Oh,
the
we are?
rookie mock draft
Oh God,
episode.
that's right. All right, I won't be here
So
Saturday.
John, you're back on. Sorry, bud.
Why are you
we
not here
uncanceled.
Monday again?
I'll be in Mexico
That's-
again with the
for
family.
the 6th time
The
this year.
worst.
Right. Sorry, y'all. I'm
This
getting
is
the hell out of
seasonal
here.
home.
Need to
We
get you a
need to
spot
this
there, brother.
changed.
I know, sir. I need
You
to
need
buy a
pay taxes
timeshare
down there.
You do.
So,
You're
but
doing
yes,
something. You smuggling, son. You're
Yeah,
doing some
something's
type
going on.
of.
No
You're a drug
comments.
lord. You a drug lord?
maybe.
So you a drug lord. Sound
I'm way
off in the
too poor
comments.
to be a drug lord. But yes, we'll have the rookie mock draft episode coming to you all Monday. We
tear a
have
few.
a great group from the IDP show team doing the mock draft. That will be live, so we'll be doing that draft live on the show Monday night. And then we have the IDP show draft kit dropping May 1st next week. That will include this year rookie mock drafts. Bobo's taking care of one QB for us, and then Evan Ringler, Jace Abbey doing a super flex tight end premium 5-round rookie mock draft. So if you're wondering where will these dudes slot in, like let's just actually put some names down on the draft board and see how this thing shakes out. We will have you covered theidpshow.com. The draft kit drops on May 1st. You get it all as a paid supporter. $5 a month. Jump in there, get what you need, get out. We don't care. Come check it out. We know you're going to love it and want to stick around. So,
$500 a month starting June though. So
Yeah,
you better
yeah,
get
make
in
sure you
there.
get in
Again,
there.
we are thinking about bumping it up, but you guys are getting too good of a deal. I think.
Too good of a deal. And if you are in a state where Fast Draft is live, make sure to check out D-Up. That, I think, is going to be seeing a big uptick in interest here now that we know where some of these rookies are. Football feels closer than it's ever been with the draft here underway. Make sure you use promo code IDPShow, $50 deposit match. So look forward to jumping in some more of those. But thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, I'll be back on Saturday with John, and these two boys will be back on Monday for the rookie mock draft
Bring me
episode.
back some avocados.
Enjoy the rest
Tariff-free.
of the draft. I'm going to enjoy Mexico, and I'll see you guys here in a couple weeks. Take care.
It's the IDP show, now you know